Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course. This is your body temple, anchoring spirit in your body. And we are here with a beautiful teacher, Barbara Canals, who is here to share this wisdom. Hi, Barbara, welcome.
Hi, Loren. I'm so happy to be back with you.
We are happy to be back with you. Thank you for being here. This is all about embodiment. That's another way to say your body temple. Why is it so important? It's we have to ground our spirit, but why? Why is that so important?
So we've come into what we call the new time. And this new time is really about, so like the idea, we're source embodied, call it spirit or source. It's even more than our higher selves, I would say, as I experience it. And you know, the whole process that we're going in this new time towards is embodying that spirit, which is completely illimited, into our body, so that we can actually ground all our innate knowledge, our gifts, and our talents that we've come into this earth to have, you know, in our body, in this physical reality. And we can start making all of those sort of like visions and ideas that, you know, many of us, if not all of us, sort of have, to start being able to materialize them and ground them in this earth. The more we ground into our body, that which we really are, so the spirit, you know, this our spirit energy, the more visible we become out to the world. So what happens for many people that are very spiritual, it just like you have like all this energy out of your body, and you sort of like start losing contact with your body, and you lose visibility. And people, because these energies are so like out there, people can't read you. People that are don't have those spiritual energies, you know, maybe, or that they sort of can't read you or understand. But we're coming to a point where spirituality needs to be an everyday thing in our world. You know, we're working with that. Everything is energy. We're working with energy all the time. So this new time that we're going into is a time where we need to understand what is energy and what is ours and what isn't. What are our energies and what are other people's energies? And that's gonna, and as we start integrating our own energies, that's gonna be allowing for a more harmonious world.
So you mentioned a good thing. When we are not in our body, we tend to be like hanging out over here. Why is that? I mean, we're thinking about other things. What is it that keeps people from being in their body? Is it thoughts?
I mean, yeah, it can be. You know, when like it's been usually when we've left our body, we leave because we've shot out of our bodies, given like trauma, you know, that we've had in our lives, or like really just like, you know, this reality, this density is really is hard. You know, coming into the body, every time I ground deeper into my body, like it's amazing. And at the same time, it can also be hard because, you know, you're like, it's like this huge, like illimited stuff coming into the body, which is dense. Like, so, but then once you're actually grounding it, I mean, that's when your cells start activating, right? When you start feeling here, presence is so important. It's the whole like the whole thing to our existence. I think being here present, being, allowing every moment to evolve as is, and allowing ourselves to evolve as is. And the more present you are, the more grounded you are in your body, then the more joy you're able to access. Because when we're grounding spirit into the body, what's happening is we're going through the crystallization process. So it's hard because we're like, our cells are like carbon based. So when spirit is coming into the body, it's like, that those cells are being pressured. But then what happens when you put carbon with a lot of pressure for a long time, like, they become diamonds. So once those cells, like, are actually shifting in this crystallization, and then they crystallize, that's where our gifts are. That's where, like, the map to what we came here to do sort of opens up, and then the joy is able to activate from it, because you find your purpose, because you remember your, it's not a remembering from the mind, it's a remembering, like a knowing from your whole being. When you have that, like, sense of, like, you're just so deeply connected into your heart, connected into your body, into your cells, there's this deep knowing that it's just like, it's much bigger than even like a faith or a creed or the mental concept. It's just like it's this whole experience with your whole being, with your body. And that you experience, like, this is how I experience it. I just experience source, my spirit, being able to be everything that I am up until this moment. I'm sure as we evolve, I will become more. We keep changing, but in this moment, it's like when you allow for, like, it's like, wow, this is amazing. It's, I don't know, the existence on this earth becomes magical and marvelous. Even the tough times, because there's no, I think many times with the concept of spirituality and seeing teachers and stuff like that, and the idea of like guru or master or teacher outside of ourselves, which that is very old time energy. So the new time energy, we're all our own guru, and like we all experience ourselves in different ways, and we learn in different ways. And it's like, and that is the experience of life, of coming in, because what are we? We're source embodied to live like a certain so like source embodied to live a certain experience on this earth, through each one of us. That's why I say it's so important to embody now, because this is my path, and for other people it'll be a different way. But how I found, I would say, even like my grace, my happiness, it's not even happiness, it's a joy, because happiness is like very, it's used so much in such a bizarre way, but like this real joy and like feeling of expansion. For me, expansion has come from within. The deeper I go into my body, the deeper I go into my heart, into my cells, the more I'm able to expand, and the more I'm able to create too. So there's within ourselves, within our body, there is the creation power. If you're out there, divide your energies in 1,000 different places, sort of thing, and you're like shooting out of the body. I can understand it could be fun for a lot to shoot out of the body and go explore and like all the different, realities that there can be. But I found for myself, it was really hard to create. What ended up happening was I was just really tired. And then I realized, oh, it's because I've left my energy in 1,000 different places. So what? Once you pull all your energy back, you're here, you're in your body, you're able to every time ground more and more energy of your actual energy, and give everyone's energy. The more clear you are, the more present, and the more you can create.
I was going to ask, how would we grounding more into the body? And you mentioned presence. And this helps to explain why yoga is a really good way to be present, right? In a pose that you hold for a while. Let's talk about how you grounding all of your energy and being clean. It has to be clean. What do you do there? How do you make that happen?
I'm gonna talk about like a process that I do. That is something that how it changed my life because um, so there's this treatment called aura transformation, and it's not something that I exclusively do. Different people that do it. It was created by a woman called Annie Senov in Denmark, and at the when the new time energies and this new time started coming in, so at the end of the 80s, when the indigo children with the indigo aura structure, which is very different than the indigo energy that came in like the 60s and whatever. So like their actual aura had this structure, which was indigo. So that was the beginning of a shift into the new time energies. And she developed this, she brought through this treatment, which is an upgrade of people's auras or energy system. So for me, it was massive, the grounding, because what happens is like, because these high frequencies started coming in, the indigo energy and the crystal energy, people's auras or energy system auras started like disintegrating and falling apart. So what was happening to me is I was trying to bring through like, you know, my energy, say, but nothing was holding. I was sort of like just very tired, and I could feel I was good for 2 days, but then it wouldn't, you know, I was like tired again, or I was just in a completely, or what was happening was also, you know, a lot of like what people call the ascension systems. So I was having like sort of like losing, not remembering many things, not being able to like do that many things at once. And just, especially for me, I was feeling the collective so much. Like I was just feeling everyone's stuff, but also all the stuff in the collective consciousness. So through this treatment, what happens is that you let go of the old aura structure. So, and the old aura structure has different layers to it, right? So, so like it has the etheric layer, which covers the body and protects it. That is, many people are having like many physical symptoms and skin symptoms because it's breaking down. They have no protection on their body. And then all these energies can come in. And energies are thoughts, feelings, words. So like, you know, we tend to think that energies are something out there. No, no, no. Or, you know, everything is an energy. Everything carries a vibration. So there's no protection, and all this stuff is just like coming in. So that's why people are like, you know, thinking that they're super empathetic, or you go to like the supermarket, or you go out and you're just like overwhelmed because you don't have that protection. Then you have the astral layer, which is the second layer of the old time aura. And that astral layer holds like all our emotional information, and, you know, ancestral, genetic, and then also our karma, right? So when you do this process, you're ready to step into the new time. You're basically letting go of all your karma. We can actually do that now. And the kids that are coming into the world have no karma. You know, they might have difficult life lessons, or like, you know, missions to carry out in this earth, but it's not due to karma. So you let go of that part, which obviously accelerates your journey so much. And then what also happens is that then you have your lower mental body, which is sort of like your thinking, you know, your mind and thinking processing, which I compare a lot to like how it feels to me like a computer, and you know, it's like the computer processor sort of thing, or like hard drive even. So in the old time aura, that space is really small. It's like I feel it here, and I can just feel it constricted in people. So it doesn't give you space to like store information, or to like be able to process, to understand information. And like, so like what happens is like when you upgrade to the new aura, this just goes like, and it massively expands. So all of a sudden you have like how you understand things, the amount of information you can process, and like just like it's so quick, it's so amazing, it's incredible. And then it's just like, whoa, now I have space, now I understand, now I can, you actually, it's not only how you understand, it's like how you can see and how you can hear, because all of that is connected. So it just like expands. So you start being able to also understand energy, frequency, and everything else, because you start seeing it differently and hearing it differently, understanding it differently. And then we have the upper mental body, and that's like the most outer part that connects to to, our higher self. So that's why people usually meditate to try and connect to their higher self, or, which is like where intuition comes from and stuff like that. The journey to go to meet the higher self and stuff like that is super tiring for our energy to do. So what happens when you upgrade to the crystal aura in this new time is that you're able to let go of this, like you also let go of the this higher mental body, and that is integrated as part. So like you have this whole aura, so you've let go of all these different layers and it just becomes one impermeable crystal aura. I say impermeable, which is so important because it's a complete protection, right? Which is what many of us have not had for a long time because our auras have been falling apart. And I just am so passionate about sharing this because I know it's so hard to live in a world when you're like completely exposed to, everyone's thoughts and everything else, so that you, especially when you're a very sensitive being, so like that you lose track of who you really are and your truth. So once you're like in this crystal aura and you're like protected, and you're then able, you don't have to shoot out to try and connect, so like meditate to try and connect to your higher self, but you're actually start to ground spirit. So it accelerates the crystallization process, which many people are going through, because it's something that's gonna for everyone on earth is gonna have to go through the crystallization process because it's just our natural evolution. But it's I would say it facilitates it, because it's like you're actually protected, and it speeds up because you have all this space and you're protected to ground. So you don't only ground your spirit in your body, that then your body starts crystallizing, but also in the aura. So it's this whole new energy system. And it just like what you were saying of like grounding, it's because you're sustained in this new bubble, let's call it, it's your energetic system or aura, but in this new bubble, it actually, that's so strong and high frequency, it actually allows for you to completely ground there. And it matches the frequency of that we have currently on Earth, and it upgrades on its own afterwards. So it keeps like shifting and morphing as it is. But what happens with that too is that there is merging. So like we become new humans basically when you do this process. It's like it's called aura transformation. And even though you're transforming your aura, you're transforming, as I understand it, and I can only speak from my experience as I live it since I upgraded, right? So like you're transforming your whole being, because what happens is there's a merging of the chakras. So with this, when you merge to the crystal aura, and now people can jump to the crystal, before they would have to go to the indigo aura structure, and then it would upgrade itself into the crystal. But now where we are in our evolution, and that's why it's so important for me to talk about this, because I think there's many people ready for it. You jump straight to the crystal, and what happens is all your chakras merge the intelligence into one only chakra, heart-centered. That means that you're completely heart-centered. What happens in my experience when I had all the 7 chakras, and there is so much stuff in each chakra, to maintain all your chakras aligned was so hard, and they all had different information, and so like one would pull and think one thing and the other one another, so like you're pretty much, it's really hard to become aligned and actually be really coherent, right? And basically think, say, and do in alignment. When you have this aura, you start grounding spirit. What happens is that, and you ground into your heart. So that's like your portal, basically your heart portal, and your heart centered, you become coherent. There is very little that's like pulling you in different directions because you're completely here, present, centered. So in my experience, what I started realizing, I go, oh, this is not this. I was doing this, but that's not okay with me. That's not my truth. And now I can speak this and think this and do this because this is. So it's and that's like how we see children being, basically. That's why they get so angry when they're not being met in the, when they have their parents like they see like they're just confused. And I actually remember being a child, and having that, like being exposed to like the amount of stuff that didn't make sense, where people would tell me things and seeing them and be like, this is not like, you're telling me this, but it's not like, it's not what you're, either thinking or like, and so for children now, the clearer their parents or caregivers or people around them become and more coherent, the easier it is for them to keep up on their path, which doesn't mean to let them do everything they want to know, because we need to teach them an experience on earth, like like ways of eating correctly, ways of like, just like certain things, and support them. But they just know if we allow them to be and observe, they know really well where they have to be, who they're connected to at a network level, and what they came here for. Doesn't mean they have to do it since they're 3, you just have to give them time. But
amazing transformation of the aura. You've gone through this on your own. This is something that happens in person, and you can help people with this in person. Now, is this something in this evolution? You said that we're all going towards this crystalline aura. It's part of our evolution. And you had someone help you facilitate your aura transformation. But for those who are curious about it, can we do it on our own with intention and awareness? What are your thoughts on that?
Not that I know of. So like the actual aura, I don't know. I only know, and I can only, I don't know. I mean, there's tons of techniques and tons of things out there. So I don't know, but I only know aura transformation. It's different. What everyone's going to go through is crystallizing in the body, so that everyone has to become crystallizing in the body only means becoming lighter. So like people are doing it in many different ways. They're like eating much cleaner, that helps for the cell to basically to clean itself and start vibrating higher. Becoming lighter means vibrating higher, or like through sports, or through being in nature. It also like activates that process. Being around children, you start crystallizing also. So that's a natural given that it's going to happen. The aura that actually, this container, this new aura, which is crystal, I don't know, actually, but like the crystallization is only that which people call like the becoming a light body, right? Just becoming, I think it's what people call, but it's just becoming lighter in our body, because that is part of our evolution. We're going to become lighter and lighter. And if you see, it's like, as we become lighter and lighter, we also become more and more conscious. If we go back to like the beginning, it makes me laugh, because I was born at the beginning of the 80s, right? So like, if I go back to the beginning of the 80s, the world was so different than what it is now. So like, no, people there was no conscious parenting, or if there was very little of it, whereas now, like, people are becoming much more aware of like, wow, the gifts that the children bring, and being able to like see children as equals, if not even like, that we can learn from them. And where I grew up, children were meant to shut up and not say anything, and weren't really taken into account, or like, so there was like, no, yoga wasn't really that big as it is now. Consciousness, people weren't speaking about all these things, and like energy, now it's just like, every time more, it's become more of a given. The thing is, we can accelerate that process, I think, with awareness transformation. Why? Because first of all, once you let go of karma, that's a huge speed up in your journey. So like, I had stuff, in my astral body that like, once I were transformed, it was like all gone. And I was ready. Like, I was really like, I didn't want to be like speaking I knew I had a lot of stuff to say, but I wouldn't want to go out and like do conferences and all this stuff. And it was, all that stuff that was in my astral body. So emotional stuff from very many past lives being, killed and being suppressed and all that stuff. And that all went in like straight away. So then what happened? I was able to step into my power and like to do what I don't, this feels right to me, to be able to share and to assist people with what has assisted me. So I was able to start doing that in a much more open way. So it accelerates people's journey in that way, and it is time now for people to it doesn't mean that you have to be speaking or whatever, but to live, I think more than anything, to live a life of joy. Because once you're doing what you have to do, and maybe it's just like, tending to your garden or like making, it doesn't mean that it has to be anything really big. We all have like different purposes. But once you're on track doing what you came here to do and not like trying to find what's like sort of like choking you or hindering you, then you can start living a life of joy. And the thing is, like, what I found for me with aura transformation, it was like a lot of like the time that I would spend trying to find those things that were pulling me back, was I would spend a lot of time doing that because our unconscious is so big. Our subconscious, is really big. So like you start healing once you realize what that thing is. But most of the time, once you've realized, it's like this to heal. The hard thing is finding those things. Now, when you have this new system, you've upgraded and you have this new system, your consciousness is so big that you can start seeing those things, right? Whatever those energies or patterns or conditionings, whatever you want to call it, you start seeing it. So, and all you have to do is send it away, send it back to where it came from, and send it, and call back your energy from that. And so like what happens? You just made a huge jump. It's a quantum leap because you're seeing what was there and it's ready to go.
I hear lots of people are ready to shift and let go of those ancestral thoughts and the patterns and the programs that no longer serve. So we've been conditioned all throughout our life with this. How do we begin to feel what is ours and what is not? And what is other people's stuff, or even what is ancestral? I mean, it's all part of being so in tune with ourselves, but do you have any other tips for how we do that?
You just, like, I think really, if you're like naturally, our natural state is to be energetic. That's spirit, that's life force. To be energetic, like we don't run out of battery. I mean, we need, like, you need to have a good sleep, and profound sleep. But if not, you're just like our natural state of wanting to share, like we're with an open heart. Doesn't mean that you allow everyone to come in, but have that open heart and just like a natural dynamism, right, to us, and joyfulness. So when you are in that way and you notice something, all of a sudden you become really tired, or all of a sudden you become angry, or these things, you need to sit down with yourself and check and be like, hold on, and like really tap into like your heart, or even into your body, that your body, when you ask your body will move forward or back to tell you if it's true or not. That's kinesiology. Like basically the wisdom of our body is huge. That's why I say your body's your temple here on earth, because through like everything is stored in our bodies. So like both trauma and ancestral and not. So your body's going to tell you what is really true and what is not. It's really clear through our muscle, like when we muscle test, you know, if something's true, our body becomes strong. But even if you're sitting straight and you ask if you ask a question to your body, if it moves forward, that's all your muscle, it's like a strong yes. If it moves back, then it's a no. Now, so like it's starting to check in that way. Now, the complicated thing is wanting to be true with ourselves. Many times, we want to hide the truth from ourselves because it entails change and it entails responsibility. So because we've lived in the same way for so long, maybe we want to stay in that same way because we feel protected. But in the new time and these new children, that is not the case. It's like the more we become true with ourselves, the more and the more clear we become, the more we're going to be able to evolve.
Yeah, so the challenge, I hear questions, how do people get clear? It's this is an inward journey, so personal, and it seems like people could get caught on so many different levels. And you work with clients. What do you think is probably one of the current themes right now that keep people stuck or that they need to clear when you work in sessions with folks?
Oh, it varies so much. But what's happening a lot in sessions, like, so I do the aura transformation sessions only in person, and that's like, but when I'm working online, what's coming through now so much, and it depends on like each person, it's very particular because we're huge like pieces of puzzles, and but I'm just being directed of people being grounded into the body. And see, you don't like, depending, like the more, it just depends. Different people have different trauma that they have to, I call it trauma, but it could, it's anything or conditioning, stuff like that, that need to be sort of like removed, or the energy just transmuted. But there's a lot of, call it resistance energy or whatever, that tries and to pull us back from being this immense light that we are. And the work now is trying to stay in as much of the light that we are, so that we can sort of like, hold the space and hold the way for many others. That's why that's why I speak, so people can, if they resonate with this, it's like, oh, okay, it might not be the path for many, and it might be for some, so it's just like, and that's why so many of us speak too, because everyone from their own experience can share, so that others can be like, and if I can tell them, I talk a lot about aura transformation because I know it's like such a big shift for, so big, and I see it with like all my clients. It's just like, because the healing is massive. Well, obviously you're like, upgrading, so like the healing is massive, and like the container you end up with is ridiculously intelligent. It's a fast processor. It's like, and so clear, so amazing. So I speak about that because for those that are ready, it's like, they know, and they know when it's for them and how they can accelerate their process so much.
Beautiful. Yeah, you work with people and you've got personal sessions for folks that need your help. Really, the energy work, when we think about energy work, it really is removing these patterns. It's allowing a greater energy to come in. I understand that now. I didn't understand that at first, but because it is a little esoteric. So we are making space for really information of our soul to come in, but it can't come in if we've got these thought patterns and conditioning. So we really need to get out of the head and into the heart.
Mm-hmm.
That really is the journey. What did you do with your ego? How did you corral your ego?
My ego is still there. We all still have it, and I get taught about humility all the time. That's why, like, there's this greater power, which is spirit and source creation, which I allow to advance me. But it's about checking in and with that, and trying to like tame it more and more. I mean, there's times when like things are scary. Change for me is scary too, at moments. But that's the part of the ego, that's trying to hold with that, hold us back in that safety, in a way, that old safety. But then what happens? I work, I notice that, and then I go down to work with kinesiology, with what's that I still need to clear from my field, and what is that deeper thing, because we're always going deeper and deeper and deeper. And what is that deeper thing that's in that deeper knowledge that's in my body that is ready to transmute and shift? Because we're stepping into higher, the word higher, or like, more expanded levels every time more. I don't know why we speak. See, this is part of the conditioning. We speak in these ways of like up and down, higher and lower, and like, so that we're conditioned with this like, pyramidal sort of like structure of like, there's those people above and the ones below. But it's not like that. It's like this. And as we evolve, so it's like expansive, like when we expand out, and time and everything is not actually up and down, or dimensions are not up and down, but they're spiral. So that's like the level of conditioning we have in our thinking mind also. There's so much. The words that we use, that's a conditioning as well, how we can, and that's part of awareness. We become more aware to be like, oh, okay, this word I'm using, I realized you can notice the frequency in it, vibration. I'm like, oh, I realize that's not where, that's bringing me down. Or like, and the same with our thoughts, those are part of, some thoughts where it's like, if we are able to not only catch ourselves, but become aware, then, but that's the level of the work we have to be doing to pull all those little, call it programming pattern conditionings, out. And some we can go deep down. So like usually you don't have to pull it out one by one. Usually, and this is what's really interesting. When I do like in my sessions on online and stuff like that, I'm guided through kinesiology to people's body, because the body is like a biocomputer. Like, I mean, we're a biocomputer. So it's, I actually can tap into what the core of the issue is. And when you get to that core of the issue, it dissolves a bunch of other stuff, conditioning, because if not, it would be really slow. So, yeah. So like when you're not doing it like little by little, but as you expand your awareness and your consciousness, you're able to, see more and be like, oh, I was put into this really limited, really small box for most of my life. I'm this huge being. Like, it's like, and there's so much space to me. Yeah. And that's how you feel after aura transformation. Well, after any session, whatever, but like, just like AT sort of like it maintains it, because you have this new space. But after any session, it should feel like that, like, wow, like, okay, now I can, I find my space. Because like when you feel constricted and like that, it's all energies that aren't yours. I tell you, it's all stuff that like, all these conditionings and fears and like all of this stuff that like is put in. But like when you are able to release that and open up, It's magical. It's so amazing. And to have this, to actually, for me, it's like to actually feel so good in my body is something that is amazing, you know? And I know I know a lot of people out there that want to feel like that want to be able to like, because our bodies is our medium to express, to like, and we've been in throughout these years have been so tough, so separated, not being able to hug and touch. And we as humanity need to be able to embrace ourselves, to hug, to touch, to laugh. Laughter is going to raise the vibration to everything. We've been that's like, we can condition to what, to like be so serious, to take everything so serious. And the more we separate from one another, you know, and stay in our little perfect, like safe, perfect boxes and worlds, we think it's safe. We just keep it like that, you know, but we're sort of like disconnecting, watching like television and drinking and this and that. The more we disconnect even more. So I like am now also doing like putting like a lot of groups of like in physical. I'm doing now like conscious movement and dance, so that people also like, you know, because people need to get together and unite. And now that things are like easier for that to happen, you know, and unite and touch each other and touch their bodies, like love their bodies and love your existence here on earth. Because for many of us that are very spiritual, it's like we're sort of like separated, but you know, our energy is out there, and then our body, and this life is like, I know many people, and I've worked with many people that are like, I don't want to be in this existence anymore. This is so tough for me. And I want to say there's like integration is coming. And when you're able to integrate more of yourselves, which you are, because it's not a thing exclusive to some of us. This is another thing that has like so much been imposed. And like there's like the sort of like chosen ones that like get to feel good. No, feeling good and being like in that state of feeling wellness and good and love and joy is for everyone. Now it's for everyone when we take the chance and we make the steps to want to bring all that spirit energy, which is the joy, the goodness, or, you know, love and qualities, or like, I mean, all the qualities you can think of that is creation. It's creativity, it's enamorment, it's curiosity, it's all these things. When we take the chance to actually want to bring all those energies into our body, now existence becomes amazing. You also shift out of like the duality, if you want to, because you're able to start accessing all those different dimensions. You know, you start becoming from within the body, not needing to go outside, because that's what many of us have been doing, sort of like trying to reach for dimensions outside of the body. We leave our energies out there. No, so it's from within. You're able to go and experience life throughout all these dimensions. And each one of these dimensions, like 5th, 6th, 7th, is connected to, it's all very earthly. It's connected to the elements. So it's connected to earth, to water, to fire, and to air. And we go through these in a different experience. So it's all going through like all these dimensions. It's all just an experience also too. But it's an experience of within. And probably the way you experience it is not going to be the same as anyone else's, because each one of our experience on this earth is very particular. So we all come from the same source, and we're all very similar in the same way, but we're also different and unique. And then that like brings step, when you think about it like that, it brings step to understand that like there is space for all of us in this world. Because we've all brought in very unique, very special, very divine gifts to land.
Beautiful. You're activating us with the words that you're speaking. And this is really just an acceleration for your clients to really release all of this stuff and tap into this joy, to ground in this greatness that we are. This is you know, the years that we've been through, these past years, have been an incubator for this. We've seen it in many different forms. And it's going to be a great renaissance when people come back together. We're starting to feel that energy already. There's a freshness and a newness. And it really is a surrender to love, a surrender to joy, to just say, I am done with all of that. And that's what you're doing. So the personal sessions that you've got, those are very beneficial for your clients. Please tell us about those. And also, there's transmissions that you are including. This is all right here on this webpage. And these transmissions help people accelerate as well. So share that with us.
Yeah. So we put together, I think, like different, we made a huge bundle. Basically, I translate high frequencies into sound and language. And so there was like different transmissions which I had done for Loren before, which are still, because it's energy and it's still very useful and important now. So I put together all these recordings, which are going to assist you in that, what we were saying, like sort of like there's certain conditionings that are just ready to go down. And what is more important, they're going to assist you in becoming very still, because for this change to happen, it's not like for us to evolve. The deeper we go into just like that sense of relaxation, that peace, that enamorment with our body, with ourselves, you know, like all these transmissions, they're all different. They all carry their specific qualities. But I would say like the core of them all, this is where love always brings back. The energy always brings back to grounding people into their body, to loving themselves, to loving their body, and grounding them into this earth. Because the heartbeat of this earth is the heartbeat of our existence. So we have been disconnected from the earth heart, but we're now being connected again. You know? So this, I have to say, it is like I think core to all the transmissions that I do. Then everything is like different, and the energy just like, I mean, it's like that huge consciousness just knows where to go for every person and what to do to every person. So like, it's not me doing it. It's just like the, you know, higher consciousness. And so if you feel called, these are amazing to just relax into and live, and they're with you for always. And then you tap into your own, like, you know, intuition, and when you want to listen to them, when you want to relax, if something takes you out of like sort of alignment, or you're feeling like anxious or whatever, you can put one of those on. They're like short, whichever one, like sort of like you check with your body or you check with your intuition and see like what's for me now. And you go into you just put the recording, and it's probably gonna put you into alignment really quickly and relax you really quickly and stuff like that. They're really amazing, beautiful recordings. And then even when I'm speaking about it now, I can just feel like my heart center opening and all that energy. So it's like, what comes through is divine love energy, which is very different than the love that us in the old time have been able to experience. It is this like huge, you know, it's like the divine feminine, this huge creation energy of sustain and surrender, that I think many people need it now too, because we've been through a lot and we need to restore our systems. And for all that we're going through in the, in times to come, yeah, our system needs to be restored.
These fortify us. They really do. They anchor us fully in the heart, and they fortify us. They make us strong against the external collective that's out there. So we don't, this term gaslighting, at times we feel like we're gaslighting ourselves. And this is a method, a technique, transmissions, energy that stabilize us and put us into alignment. Again, that word alignment is really perfect. And that's how new earth is created, from this vibration. And I do see an earth with all the inhabitants connected in this way. It's kind of wild and authentic, but it's so beautiful. And I'm an eternal optimist of that vision, because I think it will get there. And I know from our Lemurian roots that we intended this when we allowed the laggards in. We had hoped that our vibration would raise the vibration. And we're here now working at it again, and we're still going to stay on task with that. So I commend you for the work that you do, for stepping up in this bold way, because everyone who's watching this is a leader in the exact same way. And you are helping each one of us become a better leader by being in our own energy. That's wonderful. And the personal sessions that you do, again, is that one-on-one time that really allows you to go deep within someone's body. You're clairsentient, you're an energy intuitive, so you see this. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you wanted to add about your personal sessions?
They go, it's like they're laser focused, and I don't make, like, it's not like you are the one discovering your information. So, pulling out these things, I'm only going to be supporting and assisting and finding if, like, and using my sort of gifts to give you feedback so that you find your own way out. Not find your own, like, so I'll support you and assist you in those ways, and like teaching you techniques to be able to evolve within, and how to transmute energy and stuff like that. But I'm never going to tell you, you have this or you have that. So if you're looking for me to tell you things without taking responsibility, it's not for you. I'm going to be clear. It's if you want to, like, really go deep and be responsible, I think we're out of that time of, the new time is that like, you have all the gifts within you. You have all the knowledge within you. So I'm going to assist you in finding that stuff. So yeah, like I use kinesiology, and I use to test like what it is. And I use like emotional charts that I have, like, to test what it is that is there. What is the key core thing to access and transmute or remove in a certain given time. But it's all you. It's all you. So that's very
beautiful. Yeah. And that's so empowering, because we know what we know within us, and it's in every one of our cells, and it really is making the unconscious conscious. And you are a great facilitator for that. Thank you so much for all of this, and again, for stepping up into sharing. I know that's hard for light workers, but as you do it, and everyone does this journey themselves, we're all going to share. That's why we say, we know what we know within us, now share it. And we share things for New Earth. So thank you, Barbara. As we say goodbye, is there anything else you'd like to share for our audience?
No, I want to thank you so much, Lauren, for having a platform like this, where so many of us can share and free to express. And also, I want to thank, because I share and I step up to share. It's part of like what my heart tells me, and the energy tells me to do. So if I wouldn't do it, things would probably get really rotten in my life, right? Or very stuck. I need to do it. But like there's so many that do so much work also. So I also want to acknowledge all those people, because I know so many people that are holding strong in their own center, working deeply in their own ways. That is, and they don't have to be at a forefront, or they don't have to be necessarily speaking, or like there's many ways of like making an impact, even just with like, if you're able to hold like a strong, high vibrational energy and just walking by the street and impacting others without even saying a word, just because that's what you're emanating. I want to thank all of those. I want to thank everyone that's listening, that I love you so much, that it is, I don't know, so important, like that you are listening to this and trying to make the steps to move forward or sideways or any way in your journey, but that you're so beautiful. Just, I want to remind everyone of like how beautiful we are, how loving, how amazing and graceful we really, really are. And that we're coming to this time, even though like, we're in very complicated and difficult times, we're coming to a time of beauty. And beauty, it ends up coming to a time of beauty because beauty is within us. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
I love you.
And we love you. We send you all of that beautiful love right back to you. And we share it with everyone watching and listening. And again, I thank everyone for their light and their love. We've got this, and we hold that task and the eyes on the prize. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, Lauren. It's always super special.
Namaste.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.